for your very lengthy and detailed introduction. When Yogesh Bhai asked me about the title of the talk today, I was thinking a bit about adaptability, what it actually means, and I looked up what is the original meaning. And quite interestingly, it comes from a Latin word, and it means adaptare, and it means to fit, something to fit in, and it means also to join. So you're fitting in something, and you're joining also something. And since 15th century, then it means to fit in or to adjust. And in the dictionary, it's also quite interesting. Adaptation means the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions, and also the capacity to modify for a new purpose in life. And it also means the ability or willingness to change. So in this little explanation, so many concepts are actually inside, many concepts which are also very, very important for Brahmin life. As you already mentioned, we are living in times of incredible fast changes. We're getting bombarded by information and by news and by digital world. And I read an article that in USA, the children or the youngsters, they are average 5 to 6 hours using this device, the mobile phone. And so our brain is totally gone into that. And there we're absorbing all the news. And the news which we are hearing and we are getting are not good at all at the moment. As you mentioned, we have climate change. We're going to United Nations Climate Conference since 15 years, since Copenhagen 2009. And we prepare now for the next climate conference in Dubai. I was just in London, and I met to Sister Sonia and to Shantanu and Sister Jenti, and we discussed the program and how we position ourselves, what we're going to say. And the news from climate change are very dramatic. In climate change, you have these tipping points in climate, like the ice fields and the big forests around the world. You have the circular systems like North Atlantic circulation, you have El Nino, and there are very big systems which are all controlling our climate. And I think out of 12 systems, 8 have started to move. It means they have been tipped and they start to move. And now the fact is also, you in Turkey, you must have had incredible heat waves. Today I'm here in Frankfurt, which should be quite moderate, but the fan is running and I keep the window closed in daytime. And in nighttime, I open everything because I'm living in second floor in the center. I'm right now in Frankfurt. I'm leaving after 1 week for India. And so here in the center is 30 degrees, upstairs, 29 degrees. So you need power to adapt, to deal. And Baba many times said, sometime time will come, it may be a little bit cold, it may be a little bit hot, or you may be a little hungry, or you may be a little thirsty. And then you have to show the power to adapt, which is one of the special powers also in yoga life. And so people, when they hear about climate change, of course, they understand that big changes is coming very fast. And then you need power of adaptation. Same as with loss of biodiversity. In Germany now, 70% or 6% of all insects have disappeared. Also, many birds have disappeared. And if you hear in the morning in the cities, there's very less singing now, because less birds, less insects, less flowers, less food. And this year also in Germany, the harvest is not good because of too much rain, too cold, too dry, and farmers are all crying, and they have to adapt. They have to adapt to this changing situation. Then also we all are aware about rising prices. I was just in UK, and they told me that general food prices, like basic food prices like bread and milk and cheese, have gone up more than 30%. And probably in Turkey, the inflation is even much higher, what I heard. And so it becomes very difficult for people to manage. They have to adapt also again. So we have an global economic downturn. And then also ultimately we have a prospect of war, and which is happening in Ukraine and between Russia and Ukraine. And everybody's a bit scared that it will spill over. So the overall scenario is very dramatic. Wherever you look, there is fire, literally fire. The world is burning, and the end of the world is at the horizon. And people become aware that maybe we're not going to fix it. And even people who have been quite positive, quite, optimistic, they say, oh, wow. And I met a scientist in Finland recently at a conference, and she said all smaller crises, they are becoming mega crises, and all mega crises, they together become polycrisis. Means the whole world is in crisis situation. And that is what Baba also has foretold us. And because of this crisis scenario, a lot of people have problems because they cannot adapt to this scenario. They lack a vision of a future. They lack the connection to the divine. They lack protection, and they lack positivity, and they lack hope also. So they cannot adapt. And we can, when I was in Oxford recently at the European Teachers Meeting, we met a sister. She's a psychologist, psychotherapist, and she says she gets a lot of young people, students who are studying in Oxford, and they come and they're all depressed, and they all have fear, and they don't know what they should do in future because they cannot see the future anymore. So this is causing also a rise in depression and all sorts of mental illnesses. And my brother is a doctor, and he told me it's like so many people come now also with mental problems, and sometimes it's very difficult how you deal and how you try to help such people. And that sister told us she's just listening to the people, and they can offload a little bit the anxiety. And she tells them you have to adjust to the situation and make the best out of it, because she cannot give them a solution for climate change or for the end of the world scenario. So for the Brahmins, this is of course a very big story, because it is our story. Baba has told us many, many years ago, transformation will happen, change will happen, and you slowly, slowly will become deities from Shudras, from impure. And the world slowly, slowly will come down, and you will go up. And so now we can see with our eyes that is happening. And what is it all about, this adaptation, that you can have the quality to adapt to new circumstances, adjust to new situations, and make the best out of it. So for us Brahmins, this is a huge topic, because now it is somehow the time now or never. In Oxford at the teachers' retreat, the general feeling was that this is a very special time now, and whatever you do now has a big impact on your future. Means now you're sort of deciding on which track, in which compartment you will be, first class, second class, or third class. Now is the time to make this fast efforts to transform and to adapt to the situation, to read the signals of time. So when I came to India, I had to undergo many personal stories of adaptation. I came first time 1985 to Mount Abu, to India. And then in those days, of course, Madhuban was totally different. There was only Pandav Pravan. There was no hospital. There was no Gyan Sarovar. And there was no... In Shantivan, we had a little garage. That was all. There was just a little place. They sometimes repaired the trucks. There was a little garage. That was all. Small house was there. And I remember when we came, we all had, Bab Dada came every third night. And you could meet the daddies on the courtyard. And it was a very special, very personal, intimate meeting with them. And they asked, what is your name, where you come from? And they welcomed you. And then there was meeting with them in a hall. And you had to tell them what attracted you to this Gyan. And so we had a very beautiful and intimate time. And it was easy for us to adapt and to tune into this vibration. Then later, at the end of the 85, 86, 87, 88, I was with one brother together. I set up a hospital trust and we started to help bringing equipment to India. I sent some 15, 20 ship containers with medical equipment to Global Hospital. And that was the time then when I really had to adapt. You know, the first adaptation when you come to India is you have to adapt to different culture. And you have to adapt also to, different non-verbal communication. You know, in India, they do this shake it, and they shake with the head. And it means yes or no. It can mean anything. And it took me a couple of years to actually realize what actually my other person in front of me is meaning. Will he do it? Will he not do it? Will he do it immediately? Or will he do it tomorrow? Or he's not inclined at all to do it. And it takes years to read between the lines and adapt to a different cultural context. And I was very, very lucky that I'm a bit of a flexible person. And I did not freak out, you know, because as a German, 1 + 1 is always 2, and there's nothing, and it has to go straight, and you say this and you do it. And in India, things are going differently, you know. It is more like a heart, open heart. It's more a country which sort of opens your heart when you come there. It is not so much a country of logic and of precise action. So things are done in a different way, and I had to adapt in a very, very big way. Then in 1993, when we got Gyan Sarovar, Dadi Kumaka was asking everybody who was there. She said, you should build a house. And I thought, okay, let's build a house. And I had a good friend, an architect from Germany, and he was an environmental architect, and he was building out of, out of mud bricks, you know, natural.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry. I hope you could adapt.
We did.
What happened is we have a glitch in our internet, and I got kicked out, you know, out of the session, and I had to wait for 2 minutes until I got connection back, and here I am. So I hope you could adapt. And the last sentence was about building an eco house out of, okay, Very nice, yeah. So, so this was a very practical scene of I had to adapt and you had to adapt to rapidly changing scenario. And Baba also told us time will come when the internet also may stop, and not work anymore. And then we have to communicate via telepathy, like our thoughts. Baba says they're faster than light. They travel immediately. So this was a little test in that direction. So in 1999, in 1993, 94, I started building a small house, a solar house out of mud bricks with the help of a German architect. And this was a very interesting project because I had to totally adapt to Indian construction ways. And I died many times in India doing projects and doing stuff because communication, different habits, different ways how you construct and do things. And nothing what I had learned or was understanding seemed to work. So I had to adapt quite in a big way. But finally, I was very lucky. I got the solar house up and running. And then I built a little meditation dome also, a little street, a little waterfall, and a little fountain. And then I had enough. And in the meantime, many others came and the construction plans got ready. And then the construction in Gyan Sarovar actually started. And I moved into Gyan Sarovar, and literally I was the first person to live there. So I had to adapt in the nighttime. It was very scary, it was a spooky place, and sometimes bears were roaming around in the night. And it was quite spooky place in the beginning. And a lot of dedication and fearlessness was required. So I had to adapt also to that circumstances. And every morning with a little moped, I used to go to Pandav Bhavan for morning class. And there was nobody else. Only one watchman was there. That was all. And there was also no bridge. So I had to go to a little river with a moped. So a lot of adaptation was required. And this adaptation helped me to have success and not give up. I would also call it as a way, an art of flexibility, to adapt to circumstances and to adapt and make the best out of it. So then slowly, we started to, I got involved in the solar activities, and we set up a solar department and started a small solar cooker, a small solar system. Then that I got some help from the German government and some financial help. And then Nearby gave permission to build it on top of Gyan Sarovar, on top of the kitchen. In those days, the kitchen was not fully ready. So it was everything was still under construction. And Ramesh Bhai helped with all the money. So German government gave some funds. And so I had to run to Delhi, to the Indian government, to the German government. I had to come back to Germany, to go to Berlin, meet the government people, so many things. And I had to adapt and adapt and adapt and adapt. But because I could adapt, I had success, and that's also the title of the talk today, that this is a skill to be able to adapt to these circumstances. And then from the small solar, slowly it became bigger and bigger. And then Ramesh Bhai asked me why you don't make a big system in Shantivan. So I built a big solar cooking system in Shantivan in 1999. And that is also operational still. And we still produce steam for the kitchen in Shantivan, which is used for cooking the food. So then also many centers came, and then we started to roll out solar to the centers in India. We have almost 5,000 meditation centers in India, and now 500 centers, they are having a solar photovoltaic system, solar hot water system. We also distributed solar lanterns and so many other gadgets. So in all these steps, I had to almost show incredible flexibility to adapt to so many circumstances. And then finally we started India One, the big power station. And that was a very wonderful project, I would say, because it helped me to transform so much of my karma, and to learn so much, and to move forward so much. But on the other side, it was a huge challenge for me personally. And the person who I thought I am had to die, had to dry, became powder, and flow away with the wind in Rajasthan, in the desert of Rajasthan. Because the way how I thought things will happen, we do it fast, and 2 years, clack, 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 no chance. We met Baba, Ramesh by myself, we asked for a message from Baba. And Baba said, Baba likes the project very much, but money will come drop by drop. And I had no idea what drop by drop means. So it took ultimately 8 years to complete the project, to get all the money, to get all the material, to get everything together. And it was a once in a lifetime project. And the person who I thought I am, it died. And I had to ultimate sacrifice whatever I thought, whatever are my specialties or so, I had to give it up and totally trust to the drama at the end of the day. And really trust also in Baba. So this is the ultimate sacrifice in flexibility or adaptability, adaptability, that you surrender yourself to Baba and let him take over. So lastly, the question for us Brahmins is the spiritual adaptation, because we go from a low frequency, low vibration to high vibration. So we have to show incredible power of adaptation also. We go from darkness to the light, which is a big thing. And we also transform all our bad habits, our vices, and we transform them into virtues. So when we come in the Gyan in the beginning, quite often there's quite a lot of tension within the Brahmins, because on one side we have these high teachings of Baba, you become deity, you become perfect, and so on. And on the other side, we're yet not there. We're not yet there. And so the gap between the present stage where we are and our aim is huge, because we have fallen most and we rise the most. And so this difference, this gap is a huge one. And for Brahmins, this is a big challenge. And adaptability, flexibility is required to bridge, to start bridging that gap. And it's a life journey. Now, after 40 years, I can feel that I slowly come into that final smooth pathway towards perfection. And the worst of my personal karma, I hope, the worst of my personal karma is settled. And the person who I thought I was is also already gone. So I had to sacrifice myself, as Baba said, in the fire. You sacrifice yourself like a moth, and you fly in the flame. And you sacrifice yourself in service and in yoga. And in meditation, I'm very lucky. I go to history hall quite often. And in evening, that's a bit my hobby. And in history hall, I do this exercise on a very spiritual level, I would say on a very vibrational level, to initiate that ultimate transformation. For Brahmins, the ultimate transformation is finally to become a pure point, a point of light, and then become touch Paramdam, and then come and play our role as a pure deity. So from being totally impure, being totally in expansion, caught up in a spider web of habits, of actions, of karma of the past. We have to slowly pull everything together. And this is and become the point. And this is the effort I'm doing in History Hall, and where also adaptation is required, because ultimately we have to surrender the consciousness of our body, which is the biggest challenge for all of us, to let go of our own body. Because for 64 birth, we were sort of attached in a very powerful way to our body. And now Baba says, forget the body every day in the Murli Baba. I think today also Baba says, forget the body, let go, forget this old world, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. And quite interesting, today's, I'm leaving in a couple of days for India, and I will be 10 months probably out of Europe. I will stay a long time in India. And so I since long had the idea, I have a small room here in Frankfurt Center, and where I keep many things from my life. Also, we had a house. When my parents died, I got a lot of things from the house. It's a small room, but so many things are there. And today I started to throw out things. and just before I start this talk, I was going through the cloth and I kicked out 30-40%. Then I found one bag with all these badges from all the conferences since 20 years. So many badges, conference badges, there's UN conferences, but many other conferences. It was a big bag. So I took it all and I threw it away. And tomorrow I will drive to the dump place and I will throw it away. And this is for me also a sign and a signal to let go the old life, to let go the old habits, and to adapt to the signals of time. Because if we look, and we are quite honest, we can see that all these bells, Baba was talking of the bells which will ring, the big bells. And we had Corona, we have the Ukraine war, but also our daddies are gone. It's only Daddy Ratan Mohini is there now from the original daddies, Daddy Janki, Daddy Kumarka, Daddy Gulzar, and Bab Dada is no more coming into physical realm. And Baba said, time will come, I will have told you everything. And then you have to sort of come up to me. And this is, in a way, I feel the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate transformation which we can do is that we sort of make in meditation this effort to shed away the darkness and bring the light from above and heal our angelic costume. Get rid of all the dents, the bruises, the trigger points, the bad habits, the anger, this, that, whatever is still there, the impurities, and we start shining and shining and shining. And this is the ultimate adaptation. And this is the ultimate skill to become successful, that we adapt to Baba's supreme vibration. Because Baba's vibration is all the time there. And when we connect, the speciality is that we allow this vibration actually to come in. And quite often the vibration comes here to the third eye. But then we are stuck here. And our head is very powerful, but the vibration doesn't go much further. Because there in our light body still, there are a lot of lower vibrations, a lot of other things going on. Now the art is that we allow the light, we adapt to the light, and we allow the light slowly to go through our angelic body. And we remove all the resistance, which is the negativity, which is the darkness out of our aura. And we become shiny and we become an angel. And this is the ultimate skill, to adapt to Bab Dada's supreme vibration and become perfect. Thank you very much for listening. And as far as I understand, we will have now some questions maybe. Om Shanti. Maria, I can't hear you, Maria.
Sorry. Yes, I turn on my mic. Yes, thank you so much for sharing these thoughts. I think it's the first time I hear you speaking so spiritually. Usually, I hear you speaking about technical things, solar energy and everything, but this is the first time I hear you speaking so spiritually, and thank you so much. I really admire your work on yourself. I see you in Madhuban many times in History Hall, sitting there so still. You don't even move your eyes. It's really amazing when I see you there.
Oh, I'm twitching with with my eyebrows. You know, I can't control it.
Anyway, yes, everything you shared was very nice. I came back from Oxford yesterday for the teachers retreat, and it was completely different, the situation. We didn't have you here, I mean there, so you could share about what's happening in the world, and we were very subtle, to be honest, and we really felt the vibration of daddies and Baba. It was different retreat, so
it was quite powerful, actually. No?
Yeah. So I don't see any questions. If anyone has any questions, please. You were you were just mentioning about an architect. What is this? You mentioned.
Yeah, you see, when Daddy told us Daddy Komaka said when we bought Gyan Sarovar land, then Daddy Komaka asked actually all the countries, you please come and you build one bungalow there. And she invited literally the whole world to come and to do something. And she also wanted that from every country in the world, somebody should stay in Gyan Sarovar. That was a bit her wish, to make it a real international place, which is the case. You know, we are so many from so many countries, brothers and sisters are coming there. And so I, at the same time, we came in contact with a German architect, Professor Minke, and he was working with Fray Otto, a very famous architect who was building the Munich Olympic Stadium, you know, which was like a big tent, Olympic Stadium 1972. And he was the second architect in the team, so very high position, very prestigious position. And later he became an environmental architect, and he experimented with mud bricks, with natural ways of building. And we all liked this idea very much, because we thought in Gyan Sarovar we should do something alternative, something new. So the solar house and the little meditation dome, the golden meditation dome, they are built out of mud bricks without reinforced concrete or any of these things. So it's a very special construction. But then the rest of Gyan Sarovar was built conventional, because it's just too big, you know, and it would have been too much to build it all in that style, you know. So, and that architect came 6 times to Madhuban. He came very close, became a very good friend. He's still alive, and I met him last year also. Yeah, so that's the story with the architect.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions, but you can share a few things about, okay, you shared how you had to adapt in Indian culture and everything, and I can understand that. You came from Germany, where everything is running perfectly, into a world that is the opposite.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yes. All the world has changed, actually.
Even in Germany, things are not running as they should, because souls are losing strength now. And the problems are global problems now, and literally no country can escape, some country will be hit by natural calamities, some country will be hit by bad harvest, some country will be hit by war, very difficult to say what is in pipeline, but it's all around us now, we can feel it. And especially with the climate, you have to adapt to these incredible temperatures, and you are probably still in Chios, Maria.
Yes.
Yeah, so there also probably the climate and temperature has changed dramatically, and summers maybe a little bit more hot, water temperature a little bit more high, and for the vegetation and for the livelihood of the people, this has dramatic consequences, So people have to adapt, but Brahmins have to adapt now, we have to sort of ramp up our efforts, and whatever was in our mind, whatever was our dream when we came in Gyan, we had so many dreams when we came in Gyan. I want to become angel, I want to become this. Now is the moment to do it, to overcome all this little small nitty gritty, which we still have in center with the self, just meditation, make Amrit Vela very powerful, I remember a very nice book message, which I like to share with you, some time ago in Madhuban, and that inspired me a lot for my spiritual effort. I can share that? Is there still time, Maria?
Yes, you
okay.
can share.
Okay. Baba emerged all the children in the subtle region, and there were many Vimans. And the children, Baba says, come fly with me with the Vimans. And the children wanted to enter the Viman, but they could not open the door. And then they all looked to Baba, and Baba smiled and said, introversion is required. So the children are introversion. Then they could open the door and they could sit inside. But then the whole Viman started shaking and became a bit uncomfortable, and they wanted to put the belt, but they could not put the belt. They all looked to Baba, what to do. And Baba says, be determined and have faith. Be determined and have faith. And so the children became determined, and faith. And suddenly they could put the belt. And then the children wanted to fly. There was a button, and they all pushed the button, but the Viman did not take off. It made brum, 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 but it did not really take off. And they all looked to Baba, oh Baba, what is there? And then Baba says, become an angel and serve the world. And then children said, okay, I become an angel, bodiless, and I do service, Sumansa Seva. I serve the world. And then they could fly. And then all the Vimans took off and they were all flying, but suddenly a lot of clouds came. And children got all worried because they could not see anymore where they were flying. And they all looked to Baba, what to do? And then Baba said, become fearless. So become fearless. And then when the children became fearless, then suddenly all the clouds disappeared and the children could see Satyuga, the golden age, and we were all flying to Satyuga and we were landing there. So I like this book message very much, because in meditation I developed like a routine. I said, okay, be introverted, stillness, silence, don't react to anything, have faith in the self, faith in Baba, faith in Dharma, be determined, never give up, always stand up, always move forward, and then become an angel and serve the world. That is a very big thing. To become an angel means become bodiless and switch to Mansa Seva, service to your mind, service to the vibration. You send light to the world, to the center, to everybody, to your own body, and you heal your body, you heal the center, you heal the other Brahmins, and you heal the world. And then you become totally fearless, So in meditation, I do this clack, 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 clack. And then I have a very good stage. So this was a little, I almost felt like a gift from Baba, this message, this book message, maybe 3 months ago in Madhuban through Shashibet. And so I like that very much. And I still remember it and I still use it in my meditation routine. So that helped me also a lot.
Very nice. Wonderful. We will keep it in our minds now. I don't see, there was a question, but I don't speak Spanish, so I cannot read it. So if somebody can translate it, I don't know what it says, but anyway, I just want to make a question and about scientists. Let's say, what can scientists do and how can we approach scientists?
That's a very interesting question because in the climate conference, we are meeting a lot of scientists, climate scientists, but also geoscientists, planetary scientists, people from NASA, a lot of people from Research Institute, also social scientists are there. And recently I met a religious scientist, and they organize a conference, Religion and Myth in the Time of Ecological Disaster. And they talk quite openly that this is a very dramatic time, and in future there might be no churches or no institutes, no university, because we may be the last generation which enjoy a very beautiful life. So the art is to build a bridge to the scientist, and the best art is, the best way to communicate is you have a smile and you're very happy, you know. And vibration always reaches the other one. And if you give loving vibration, understanding vibration, the opposite soul will be very comfortable, you know. And then after some time, you might be able to bring the topic to a more spiritual one, you know, and give a little bit gyan. It's always like feeling the pulse. So 200 years ago, we have to understand there was an industrial scientific revolution. Until then, everybody was believing in the world, even in the Western world, that God is there, and that we are heading towards a judgment day, and that time is a degenerative process. This was always thought until 200 years ago. Then we had an industrial revolution, a scientific revolution, and science said, no, God is not there. And if we investigate nature properly and we apply the scientific findings or the knowledge of the science properly, and we industrialize properly, we will be able to reverse that downwards trend and bring it to an upwards trend. This was the big promise 200 years ago of the Renaissance, when they thought they bring the light, enlightenment to people, and everything changed rapidly. And since then, interestingly, our energy consumption has gone up dramatically with industrialization. And now, after 200 years, we see that we're in a dead-end road. So science is in a very dramatic situation right now, because exactly following the pure path of science has given us a lot of achievements. But every scientific finding has also caused a lot of problems. And the problems are now so massive that it seems with scientific means we cannot resolve it. And we have to look outside of the box to a higher being. And the problem is, this is the God which they kicked out 200 years ago. That's the supreme being. So it's a bit of a come back home for science. And it takes time, because it's not easy to admit that in all these years, in all these long 200 years, they have omitted, neglected the most important part in the whole drama, the supreme being. So one has to be very careful, sensitive when one talks. But there are many bridges now, you know, like solar, so many solar scientists, so many people who are interested in clean technologies, they come in contact. In the climate conference also, we meet so many scientists now. And social scientists, religious scientists, they all are interested now because they all are looking for solution. And solution comes from the light, comes from divinity, and comes from the supreme being, from God. And we are close to him, so naturally we come in touch with them, you know. So it's quite interesting to interact with scientists, you know. It's nice. It's a nice exchange. I learn a lot, but they also can feel that there's some power, you know. So it's quite interesting.
Thank you. Very nice. There is a question here. Do you think that the vibration of the planet is also changing for a vibration of light? What is the photon light rain? What is the big solar flash?
Yeah. So you see, as far as I understand, Baba was asked several times about the universe and what is going on and this and that. And Baba said, it's a big game. And these are three things: the supreme soul, the souls, and matter. And one of the main principles in science, or in spirituality, is that mind, the vibration which we are radiating from the third eye, our mind is shaping or forming physical reality. There's a very interesting experiment from the 1930s. It's called the double slit experiment, where scientists found out that when you observe an experiment, you actually influence the outcome of the experiment. And this was a bit of a shocker when they made this experiment. They wanted to find out what is the nature of light, if it is a particle or if it is a vibration, a wave. And sometimes they got this result and sometimes they got that result. And so ultimately they found out that if you observe, you freeze the movement and it becomes a particle. And if you take your attention somewhere else, you look somewhere else, you don't look to the experiment, it becomes again a wave. It's a wave function. And this is a duality of a particle, which should not be the case. And so what science since then found out in many, many other experiments also, many hundreds of experiments, they found out that our mind is all the time influencing matter. All the time we are observing matter. We are shaping matter. And the mind forms the physical reality. And this is why Baba says, children, the clock of transformation is with you, children. As long as you are in this state of mind, the world will be in this state of mind. And the moment you see Satyuga in your mind, you have this vibration of Satyuga, Satyuga will come. Because mind is ruling matter. So whatever happens on the world in terms of vibration, there are changes of the vibration of the earth. There's a frequency called Schumann frequency. There are solar flares. You know, the whole universe is reacting to our vibration. And because we, the ancestor souls, we are becoming pure now. We're purifying and purifying and purifying. We are the seed. So we have a massive impact on the physical reality. And physical reality is getting ready for the big purification. So of course, many things are changing. Solar flares, magnetic field of the earth, Schumann frequency, so many things on the earth are changing, you know, for sure. It's a sign of our transformation.
Wonderful. Well, somebody says something personal, if it's a good idea to visit German centers in Frankfurt and Berlin.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. at least it's a bit cooler than in Turkey. Tomorrow it should only be 25 or 26 degrees.
Yes. So I think that we have some time Yes, we have some time. If you want, you can make some commentary, some kind of meditation.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes. You can make some
Okay.
meditation, and also 2 minutes after the meditation that you can share your dristi. And after that, when you finish, just say Om Shanti, because we have to continue with the 15 minutes yoga for the world. And you can stay if you want to. So we can, with our vibrations and with our thoughts, can bring Satyug close.
Very nice, yeah. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share and to meet you all, so many souls online. I can see there are almost 70 souls online. Very nice, you know. Zoom is nowadays the medium to meet, you know. And I'm going next Monday, I'm flying to good old India. And hopefully I will meet one or the other, because Peace of Mind is happening soon. And there's a beautiful opportunity to bring some guests and also come yourself as an escort. You know, that is very nice, because it will be very special. It's probably the best season and the best program in Gyan Sarovar. Okay, thank you very much. And